Oh, dude, you like my new bike?
Sick, dude.
I just picked this thing up.
Yeah.
Townie, just like you said.
Yeah, man. It's awesome. Do they make them for men?
What?
What do you mean? Do they make them for, like, guys? These
Yeah,
bikes?
man, this is my new bike.
Oh, wow.
What do you mean for
Can
guys?
you get on that thing?
Yeah.
It seems a little bit large.
Hold on. I'll show you.
It's like a man's bike.
Hold on. Can you help me out real quick?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'll show you later.
All right, yeah. I mean, maybe they make like a. I could build you like a. You know, like you get on a boat and you step on the step to straddle the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So something cool. Teak. Maybe something cool in teak. Like a little teak step. Jump on there.
All right, man.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say?
No, just trying to help out. Sick bike though.
So this is the one you want me to open up?
Yeah, these are good. These are
the one, the All Day IPA.
They make a lot of cool beers.
Founders, All Day IPA Session Ale.
I used to work in a bar and try beers daily. At one point, in one hat that I wore.
Okay.
And yeah, we would. All these cool beers were coming out at the time.
Right. I love doing this. Right in front of the mic. It's a good sound effect.
That was impressive.
Right.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Very good to see you.
Thanks for
thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking the afternoon off to come out and drink some beer with me.
I mean, yeah.
That's good.
It's really good, yeah.
That's good. I'm normally not an IPA guy.
You know what?
I like that.
I like them cold, and then when they get a little, about halfway down, they turn into tomato juice, or they taste like a
tomato juice.
They got like a tomato juice taste when they get a
really
little warm.
Yeah.
It's just not my thing.
That sounds delightful.
You gotta drink them fast. I mean,
cool.
So
today we're here with I'm going to introduce you as Captain.
Oh wow, that's been a while.
Ben Espinoza, right? The original Wooden Tuna. Welcome to Connected by Water, presented by Joey Cardi Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Wow, nice to have it.
Thanks You're in the fishbowl. So
I'm here, yeah.
We're here to hang out. We're here to have a good time. We're not going to really accomplish much. We're just going to,
I didn't think I would solve any world issues, but let's just drink a beer with you.
So, in case you're the mysterious Wooden Tuna, right?
Yeah, mysterious. Just a little dirty wood shop. Build little furniture for people, and
it's amazing stuff. It really is.
Thanks, man.
You're a very talented guy.
Try real hard.
So, I mean, I'm going to ask you some questions I probably already know the answers to for the sake of the audience, but what made you start getting into wood and made you ditch being a boat captain down in Panama?
Man, that was a tough decision.
Put a little closer.
At some point, third world, how do I put that? The job was insane. I mean, I was fortunate to even have experience doing some of that stuff.
You can lift it up to you.
There you go. So, in the end, it's taxing, man. It's you're on the water every day, and that's all you do. You're kind of stuck on an island with, your boss and your boss's crew. They kind of become your family, but when you're stuck on an island for months at a time, you get a little crazy. You get a little stir crazy.
Yeah.
You start thinking of things to do, and I tinkered on the island. They had a cool little workspace, and they had so many cool things. And it's not like there's a Home Depot in Panama.
Mm-hmm.
You're I think it's like 25 miles off the coast, and there was a teak farm owned by some uber wealthy guy. I think his name was Ricardo Perez or something like that. He's like I think he owned. Don't quote me.
When was this, the teak farm? Because those things are kind of like going away now, aren't they?
I don't think so, man. They commercially grow the stuff now. It's such a.
I don't know. I don't know about it.
It's going away.
I just heard about it's like these things are just getting ravaged and they're like hard to find now.
Yeah, some of like I think more like the Rosewood guys and the guys that were making like guitars. Like remember Gibson got in trouble for
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, having the wrong wood or something. You know,
Okay.
it has to do with hey, are we paying for the wood? Are we bringing in certain kind of bugs or pesticides or because some of that wood is great there and it doesn't rot and doesn't have the bug problems, but you bring that stuff to the States and then you get these weird termites or you get like weird it's like a woodworm type of thing, and your you put it in your house and this thing could ravage your house.
That's crazy.
Yeah, some of the import furniture, that was kind of the gist of how I got into doing this. Is I was already tinkering around with a lot of the cool woods, and then I think somebody had asked me to do something, and a buddy of mine that I was friends with at the time, we started doing a couple of restaurant build outs and kind of just went from there.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't know everything. I've learned a lot. I didn't know how to run a business. I'll say that.
Who does? I still don't know how to run a business.
I still don't really. Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
Drinking beer on Tuesday.
Drinking beer on Tuesday.
Fully profitable. I don't know how.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I mean, who knows? So
that's the thing, man. It's like we're in the same boat. We're running our own businesses, right? And kind of the follow your dream thing.
Yep.
And but like our specialty, your specialty, we're creating things. We're making things from scratch with our own two hands, and it's like that's only like small percentage of what we actually have to do during the course of the day. The rest of it's all this business crap that came with it.
I'm on the phone probably.
Oh my God, the phone
half the day.
Yeah.
And then I sometimes I feel bad. I just shut my phone off.
You have to though.
And put it in my pocket, and I can't be just I start thinking about what they're talking about on the phone, and I'm cutting wood, and pretty soon I've been doing woodwork for 5 years.
Right.
Just cliche wood shop guy, missing a couple of digits. So, I do try to keep focused, which is very hard.
Yeah.
Texting doesn't help because you look down and look at a text, and then you're cutting something. You're like, I just cut a $250 piece of wood, the wrong size. Frustrating, and then you make a cutting board out of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you got to adapt.
You got to adapt.
We got all right. So at this point, Connected by Waters, like before, it was D.Friel Art Studios. It was like completely different business. It was basically just me and my wife. Yep. Now we've since expanded. We got a different operation. It's a partnership, and it's a brand new company, Connected by Water, right? Which now we've evolved that, and because of all those things that we're talking about before, we made the lessons learned and all this stuff like that. I realized I need help. Mm-hmm. It's going to always be these roadblocks of I'm always on the phone, and it's like I can't do what I need to do if I'm doing all that other stuff. Even last week, my partner Harris is like, listen, he's like, you need to start a new painting. I'm like, when the hell am I going to start a new painting? Because I got this to do, and I got that to do, and I got this meeting come up, and I got this call coming up, and I got, this shirt project to get out. And it's just like, he's like, you just go. Stop. He goes, go to my house. Get out of the studio. Yeah. So he's like, leave the studio to work, right? So he's like, go to my house on nice house in the Deerfield and on the Intercoastal and everything like that. And he's like, I just like turn your phone off and start a new painting. Like take a day off to get back on. You know what I mean? Get it? Yeah. So we did that, and that was like, I feel like I went to like the psychiatrist, or something. I came back like so renewed, so refreshed, and like now I have a new painting in the works, and it's like, and that's always to me where I've always had a painting going on. Always, no matter what. Yeah. And like in like recent times, 6 months or a year or whatever like that, it wasn't like that, where I always at least had more on behind my head.
Right. But you kind of know in the back of your head, I want to try this next painting.
Right.
Like I'll make some piece of, some giant table or something. Like I know what I want to make, and I haven't made it yet.
Yeah.
I got weird thoughts. You come up with these weird thoughts in the middle of the night, and you're like, oh, I should write that down. No, I'll remember it.
Never
remember it.
No.
So
you always got to, you always got to, you the ones that you do actually remember are always solid ideas, though.
Right.
But
my job is different. I mean, yeah, yours is kind of the same. Is I'm basically fixing my mistakes as I go.
mm-hmm.
So I might cut something short and do something wrong, and I think the majority of what I'm doing is just fixing mistakes and go, oh, I know how to fix that. Oh, this thing got dented. I know how to bring the wood grain back up or something. You're the same way. You're doing. You threw the wrong color blue on something.
Yeah.
You got a million colors of blue.
Happy accidents. That's what Bob Ross says.
That's good.
He's got to roll with
That's
it.
pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what we do is just kind of free form,
mm-hmm.
and I'm just kind of.
That's part of the reason why I look at what you do as an art, and I always recognize that right off the beginning when we first started hanging out. I was like, man, this dude's like doing really interesting things, and it's not just like, hey, I need a cabinet, or hey, you know what I mean? It's like you always try to like put like an interesting kind of spin on the things that you do.
I think when I started, I was more interested in just learning how to do it, and as I got better, or better techniques or something, or better tools, or hey, there's a tool that makes that so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got to the point where I said, let's stay creative with it, but I don't want to build. I think the frustrating thing is you go out and try to buy a piece of furniture and it's just horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff is just, there's some cool stuff out there. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, you got to pay an arm and a leg for it, though.
Well, yeah, that's.
You want to go to get like Ethan Allen furniture or something like it's like American made. You got 8 week. You know what I mean? It's like solid wood. It's like,
but is it American made? Like a lot of this stuff. I'm like, there's a giant cabinet, high end cabinet.
Yeah, I don't know. Educate me on that fact.
So
you're the expert.
We just found out that a lot of times you see something like an object or a table or something, and it says made in USA,
mm-hmm.
right? There's supposedly a country or a town or a province or something in like China or Taiwan or one of these places called USA.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So at some point we were ordering something for a quick, turnaround. And he said, do you want to build it or do you want me to order it? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead and order that piece. And versus me, you waiting 2 weeks for me to build it, order it. So it comes in and we got the tracking and it was Port of Miami. And we're like, why does American walnut come from Port of Miami? It's floor and decor, countertop. Crap,
really?
That you're thinking, oh, it's walnut. Like it's American walnut. It's got to come from America.
Right.
Maybe it started there, but in the end, I think we waited at the Port of Miami for it to be delivered, and it came from China.
There's really a place called USA in China?
I don't know if it's called USA. I think it's called...
Or something like that.
USA? I'm serious. We should
I'm going to look into this, man.
We should research this. It was
Seriously.
frustrating. And I think they have a couple of different places named that. So when you have something
I'm not putting anything past China to do some shady shit.
That's intelligent, to be honest with you. And that's some shady
Yeah,
stuff,
no, it's like, smart, but it's like Dr. Evil kind of smart.
Evil,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like the whole country is like
right.
hell in a handbasket kind of
stuff. We didn't know that existed. So at some point we were like, made in the USA, but it came from the port.
Like, what was the name of that company they bought, the meat company? It was the Smithfield Farms, I think, right? Yeah. So they bought the Smithfield Farms, which everyone thinks that they're buying from Smithfield Farms. They're buying American meat.
Funny, I saw that bacon in my fridge this morning.
Which they're going to do that. So they're going to buy, the farms are still in the United States, and they're shipping the meat to China to get packed, cut down and packed, or they're shipping the animals or whatever they're doing, and then they're shipping it back to the United States.
I ran a boat for a guy once, and I was kind of like, what do you do? He's like, sales. I was like, cool. What? I never really, that could mean anything. I didn't get too deep. And at one point, he was like, I got to go back to China. And I'm like, oh, I thought you worked for Tyson. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought he was a sales guy for, like, one of the chicken companies or something. He was. So anytime we rate second-rate type of meat or that kind of product or whatever, they can sell it overseas. So they freeze this entire container, and then they ship that thing over. They
So
just
we're
make deals.
selling meat over there.
Yeah, we've been doing that.
Secondhand meat.
Oh yeah.
What's your take on the whole made in China thing right now? Especially after,
Man,
has this whole COVID thing like changed your mindset?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I was actually wanted to bring that up. Is there's I hope we're realizing the importance of making American-made type items. You know, we can get anything made in China, anything. It's always cheaper. It's not better, but in the long run, I don't know how this developed, where overseas was better, or cheaper, or less money to produce, but in the end, it's hurt us so bad. We're so dependent on
tremendously.
Them. So
even from an intellectual property standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine what you guys get ripped up on.
Even not even just artwork, just like designs of mechanisms.
Oh yeah,
and from an engineering perspective, or just like how they would design even a phone or something like that. And it's like, well, they're going to take that, they're going to make it like, oh, that's a really cool product that a lot of people are going to want. So we're going to just steal those plans, and there's nothing anyone can do about it.
No, I mean, unless you go there,
right?
And what does their cease and desist actually do for them? Like they're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Fight a war over it?
Yeah,
you don't know who's going to fight your war for you.
Nobody.
And we got more money than you. You can't sue us. You know what I mean?
In the end, yes, I hope everyone looks up and says, wow, I can go buy that IKEA table or whatever, I hate to name drop it. I watched some documentary about how much wood they're using, and they're one of the biggest wood.
They're the largest wood user or producer in all of Europe.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know that is because I guessed correctly, got the final Jeopardy question right. It was that question. It was crazy. Like, what company is the largest? And I'm like,
gotta be IKEA.
IKEA uses a ton of wood. I'll say that. You know what I mean? I wasn't sure if I was right or not.
I don't know if they use it in their furniture, but they
who knows?
Definitely use it.
Yeah. This is actually an IKEA table. When Liz bought this, when she was kind of like out of it and some things, but this is one of their better.
I couldn't tell. I mean,
this is one of their better.
Like oak.
Most of the stuff is I think just garbage. This is one of the few items that I actually liked that they made, but still,
man, not for nothing. They got cool designers.
They got cool designers, but at this point, if I'm rebuilding things around here, if I'm redoing things like that, my mindset
from now on,
it's all like like American.
Let me know. I got a table that'll fit right in here. Big old live edge slab came out of local.
Really?
Yeah, actually, I got a tree guy.
You got a tree guy.
I got a tree guy, and he slabs lumber, South Florida. He has trees from Andrew sitting in his yard. I mean, it's not even a yard. It's like I go there and I'm like, oh my God, look at all those. Look at that. Look at this,
right.
And he does import a little bit of wood from Central America now. He's trying to get into the fancier slabs of wood, but like, I mean, we get an afternoon off, man. I'll take you over there and you'll freak.
Yeah.
It is insane. And he has such cool stuff. And you never know. Like, some of the trees we look at in Florida, you kind of look at them and you're like, man, that's an ugly tree. Like, you never think about what's inside of them.
Right.
The black olive tree, which are everywhere, they're insane beautiful inside. They look like dark. They look like kind of like a walnutty color.
A black olive?
Yeah.
Man, my buddy Tommy.
Tommy just called me yesterday.
He just got all that wood.
Yeah.
Did you take any of it?
I got a guy.
You got a guy, yeah.
I actually called. I called him. His name is Mike. I said, dude, you interested? He goes, I'm so busy. I don't have time to run up the street and grab a tree.
Right.
He's like, we have more trees. We have one. He's like, I hired a guy just to organize all the all the lumber. And I'm like, wow, I got to go over there.
Yeah, right?
Right up the block. We got to go.
Here?
Yeah.
Where?
Coral Springs.
Get out.
Yeah, he's right up the road.
Oh, we'll go after the podcast.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Blow your mind.
All right.
Yeah.
That's your tree guys here in town?
Yeah. He actually has a kiln. He kiln dries all the wood for a week.
Oh, we got to go.
Oh, you'd freak out.
You had me at kiln.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
And he's just a cool dude. Like he's kind of like, I like him. He's kind of like me.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. Let me build a new coffee table out there. Get rid of this thing. Someone gave me that thing. They were moving out of here. And they're like, hey, we're closing the business. Do you want this coffee table? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, take this couch too.
I mean, that's kind of how you end up with stuff too.
Yeah.
I've had like giant cabinet shops. They're like, hey, you want all this machinery? And I'm like, I don't even think I have a plug that makes 3-phase. Like, I don't know that I can use that. So, and then, you get it in your shop. You're like, cool. 1970s wood shop stuff. Like, what the hell am I going to do with this stuff?
Yeah.
I'm going to.
You don't want to say no to cool shit.
No.
That's my problem. That's my problem. Like, I don't want to say anything, no to anything cool. But.
Oh, I'm a class 1 hoarder.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd keep anything.
How's your truck? You got is it done?
Speaking of hoarding, I have.
That's what made me think of that.
Yeah, that's funny. I have one last.
John, you got to show
apply.
pictures of this truck.
I have an old 1956 Chevy Apache.
Badass, dude. I love it.
It was a rust turd.
But I love it.
I got it.
I know, but when you got it, but you've been restoring this thing ever since I've known you.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me how much money I spent. I don't know what those classic Chevy boxes are, Megan. I don't know. Shout out to Megan. Yeah, I mean, I've been spending money on that thing for years. It's just, it's done.
It is.
Yeah, it's done. I have a brake booster to install, and then we just redid all the brake lines. And
you got to paint it?
No, what do you mean paint it? It's already painted.
It is already painted?
Yeah, it's got like a little blue action going to it.
Okay.
It's like man, I don't know when's the last time you've seen it, but it's
been a while since I've been
blue.
to the shop.
Yeah, it's blue. It's got the stake. We did a mahogany stake bed on the sides. Looks like it carried vegetables or something.
Love it.
It's got a mahogany bed. Original motor.
What motor's in there?
I think it's inline 6 238.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I'm not a mechanic, man. I can replace parts.
Yeah.
I changed out.
I restored a bus once. 1967 split window Volkswagen bus.
Wow.
Thing was a piece of junk. I bought it for like $1,500, but it was a 67 split window.
Yeah.
And I bought it for $1,500. This had to have been it was the mid 90s.
You did the work?
No, I had a friend who was a Volkswagen mechanic, and I kept it at his shop, and I worked with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was there. He did the work, but I was there with him every step of the way,
Yeah.
trying to learn,
Yeah.
trying to help him out because he was hooking me up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Those guys usually hate that. They're like,
no, you know what? It was all him.
It was all
him wanting to do it and everything like that. And
oh, cool.
So I was like, you sure? He's like, no, let's do this, man. He's always wanted to rebuild a bus. Like,
that's cool. That's a iconic.
So yeah, and then like we got it built up, and all right, I got to tell you this story. So we took us about 3 months to rebuild the engine and get it running. Yeah. Right. So, and he had a bus too. It was a camper. Yep. It was like a 1972 something. Right. Yeah. Pop up. Right. Cool stuff. So here we both got our buses, and you got to drive these things like this because the wheel is like totally like in a 0 degree angle.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. And at the time, I had a 4-month-old Weimaraner puppy, right? Savannah Jane. Beautiful dog. Awesome dog, right? So we're driving around, our buses around town. We're stopping around all our friends' houses and everything like that. And I'm coming up to a light, right? He's behind me. And picture this, if you will. Okay? It's a red light.
Yeah.
And there's 3-lane highway with 1 turning lane coming up, right? There's a car in every lane. Okay? So my brakes go out in this big hunk of metal.
Yeah.
Right? That's like a 3-speed shifter.
Yeah.
And like when I say brakes go out, I'm talking right to the floor. Like cable is gone.
Yeah.
Like it came detached or whatever. Something. It's one of those moments where it all happens so quickly, but everything's slowed down, right?
Yeah.
Where you're just like, okay, all of a sudden your brain goes into mode of, I need to figure this out, right? So my first instinct is, okay, I'm going to go all the way to the left, and I'm going to jump that median because I don't see any cars on that side right now, right? So just as I go and I turn to the left, I kind of catch out of the corner of my eye that The other intersection got the green arrow, and they're going to start becoming my oncoming traffic, and they're not going to see me. They're going to come around that turn, and they're going to see this bus moving, right? So I'm like, I can't do that. And so I start going like this. So I start going like this. I start turning like that. Now, this thing, I'm sure, caught a little bit of air.
First of all, you weren't turning like this. You were turning like this.
Well, no,
The wheel's about this big.
No, I'm like trying to because I'm downshifting the whole time trying to stop.
Okay.
Right? So I'm like, whatever. Trying to like that. Right? Now, there's no carpet, no anything in this thing. So it's just, if you've been in a bus, it's just all reverberating metal. You know what I mean? It's like you're sitting in a tin can.
Yeah.
And I just come so close to nailing these cars that are stopped at that light. They had to have seen me do this whole thing, and they're just shitting a brick like, please don't hit me. Right? So I come and I go and I get a 90-degree angle and I jump the curb. I go in between a bus shelter and a light pole. I fit perfectly in between the two, right? I go over the sidewalk. That's now the corner, right? And my tires catch in the swale on the adjacent side of the corner. And I stopped. And my dog is on the floor.
Poor dog.
Big eyes, they scratch. Like I swear to God, if she could, her claws would have gone into the metal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I never drove the bus ever again.
You got to put brakes in it, man.
Well, I brought it, and it sat in my driveway, and then I ended up selling. We did the motor work. I ended up like, someone came to me with an offer for like $4,000, and I sold it to them. So I made money off it, whatever. I regret that decision to this day. I really do, especially when you see how much these things go for now.
Yeah. I mean, my plan...
I really regret selling that bus.
My plan is to sell this thing eventually.
It is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun. I had this truck before. My grandfather had given me this same truck when I was like 14 or 15. So we fixed it up and we worked on it together, and it was like a cool project, And they were like, well, there you go. You're driving that to high school. And I was like, I wanted an F-150.
Right.
And they were like, yeah,
no, not getting a new truck.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I drove it. It was cool. It was in every parade in high school. It was like,
nice.
It was legit.
Yeah.
Soccer team rode in the back. It was fun.
What happened to that one?
We actually did sell that one. My family sold it. It wasn't ever actually mine. It was just mine to use.
Yeah.
And then I did get an F-150, I think later in high school. But everyone's like, dude, your old truck was legit. And I'm like, yeah, nostalgic. And then this truck just kind of popped into my, I was driving. The truck lived at a guy down the block from my parents' house. And he had like cool old Camaros restored and all these cool cars. He had 3 boats in his backyard, like flats boats and sick, like, $100,000 Pathfinders or not Hughes or cool boats. So like one day I see this old truck and I'm like, hey, want to sell that truck? And he was like, go fuck yourself. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to offend you. And I'm like, I got $1,000 in my pocket. The guy was like, okay, cool. See ya. And the next time I spoke with him, he was like, he was a young guy. He wasn't an older guy. He says, no, seriously, you want to buy that truck? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, it cost me $2,000 to get it down here from Alabama. And it was, and I paid $3,000 for it. And I'm like, you got $5,000 in that rust bucket? I'm like,
yeah.
I gave him $1,000.
He took it?
No, he was absolutely.
You wanted this $5,000 back?
I offended him. No, I just completely offended him. Right? I'm like, dude, I don't have anything to offer you, man. I'm not giving you $5,000 for an old dude. If you steal this thing, it was a turd. So at that point, I was like, all right, sorry, man. So then, like, a couple months go by, and I had heard he got in trouble. I guess he's one of those dudes that shoots his gun up in the middle of the night. Right? So,
one of those guys.
One of those dudes.
You know those guys, John, don't you? You hang out with those guys.
I guess he popped his gun off a few times in the middle of the night, and some high school kid had a couple of bullet holes in his car.
Oh, my God.
And, in Delray, they have, I guess they have like a pinpoint system where it's like 4 antennas, and they can tell where the bullet bullets are coming from. I actually don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Wait, what?
I think this is real. Like, they have a system where they can pinpoint where shots are fired.
The police have this?
Police, yes. It's actual
crazy.
technology.
What kind of system?
It's a technology. It is. It really does.
Was it like a
exist.
reverberating kind of sensor?
I don't know. I think it's like a system of like 4 antennas, and then it kind of pinpoints what quadrant it's gonna.
And they probably sense something that's moving actually that fast.
It's beyond my pay
my
grade
God.
that I don't know. You know what?
Sorry,
what
man.
goes on there.
You had
So
me
it
at-
was actually the best part is so I get a phone call and the guy's like, "Hey, you still want to buy my truck?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got $1,000 I got $1,000 And he was like, "Come pick it up." And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Come pick it up."
You need bail money?
And I was like, I guess he was going to prison for a while. Kind of trouble, yeah. Some kid got his car shot up or something. He was popping bullets off a hammered. Probably had a couple of IPAs.
Session ale.
Yeah, decided he's going to pop a couple of rounds off. So long story, I go to pick up this truck and I asked my brother, I'm like, "Hey, come help me." I had that Jeep back in the day. And I'm like, "Does it run?" He's like, "Well, it ran when I parked it." I'm like, here we go. And he goes, "Might as well take all those." He opens up his garage and there's just a stack of boxes in there. And it's all chrome parts and, headlight bezels and, parts to this old truck that are brand new, like ready to roll. Must have been 20 boxes, He's like, "Take that shit with you too." So I was
Really?
like, "Okay." I'm like telling my brother, I'm like, load it. We're loading all this shit in. I drag it to my parents' house with my Jeep. I mean, that thing is pure metal. It must weigh, 3 or 4.
You pulled that thing with your Jeep?
Dude, I thought I broke my transmission with
Oh my
Jeep.
God.
That's how heavy it was. So we get it to my parents' house, and of course, my brother wrapped the tow strap around my brake lines on my Jeep. So yes, my brake lines went out on my Jeep. That was another debacle. Yeah.
Scary.
Scary, yeah.
Something you don't ever want to have. Like,
No, I didn't like driving that Jeep 30 miles an hour. Like, the thing was sketchy. So long story, yeah, I ended up with this old truck. My idea was I'll throw a couple grand into it, get it ready, and then a buddy of mine was like, "Let me help you paint it." And he was what I thought was a painter. No, he was not a painter. Oh, there should be a narrator. There should be a narrator in my life on a daily, when the narrator's like, "He was not a good painter." So,
what, you trying to spray paint the truck?
no, we actually sprayed it. We actually did it the right way. And, we sanded it down to bare metal. I mean, I've got crazy photos of this thing. And I had an idea. I had this like inspo photo of like some stupid Pinterest photo. And I'm like, that thing is insane. It's probably like $100,000 worth, in the picture
Okay.
that you didn't see. And then I'm like, all right, let's lipstick on this pig and make this thing sick. And yeah, it didn't work. But it's cool. It's got like a flat paint job. I didn't want a fancy truck. I wanted like, we're going to Home Depot. We're going to throw sod in the back of this mahogany bed.
Yeah.
So that's all I kind of wanted. Other people
You just
see
want
it.
to roll in style.
I
That's
just
it.
want to roll it. Sweaty,
Yeah.
no AC. Should be awesome in Florida. A buddy of mine made the seat for me. It's like, like calf skin. It's like pig skin suede.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of got a cool look. I was looking like the American, red wheels and big, put these big white walls on it. It's cool. It's cool.
No,
looking.
it's a cool
From
truck.
20 feet, it's cool. Get in that get in that bitch and drive in it. It's rough, man. Take your.
Oh, you should let me draw the truck. And
I would love that.
And we'll put some wood coming out of the back, and we'll do the for a Wooden Tuna workshop shirt.
You had me. Let me draw the truck.
Yeah. Let's do that.
All right, I'm in.
That'd be cool.
100%.
I like that.
I'm in. Yeah. That's awesome.
So I was thinking about all these. I got the Townie now, right?
Yep.
So for those of you that don't know, I got a new bike, right? But it was you that really kind of like hooked me into this whole Townie thing. So
I just didn't want you to go wrong with like we're like dad age. We're now like, hey, let's go relive our BMX days.
they're built for comfort, not for
Yeah,
speed.
we're not trying to like get on a mountain bike and possibly
Right.
hurt ourselves.
So, although my buddy Jason Gascoigne, he's like trying to like get me all in this new BMX bike that he wanted to get, and we're like the same age. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I wanted to get one like this for just hanging around, and then I wanted to do one where I could do like wheelies and shit. I'm like, dude, you're not 16 years old. What are you thinking?
I'm 43 years old.
Yeah.
I do a wheelie right now.
That's what I mean.
Fall on my arm.
Yeah. And it's not like Jason
they're just
is like,
chop it off. They're not gonna try to save the arm.
Like the Tiger King girl.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
Girl.
Sorry. Yeah, right.
She had a, I think she was
Transitional.
Yeah, I don't want to get in that talk. I don't. No, it's not. That talk's not for me.
No, we're not gonna go there.
No, we're not.
That's an open and shut case.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're going another beer though.
There you go. So I got the Townie, and I'm thinking I get this thing right. So
it's a beautiful bike.
It's a beautiful bike, but the first one, the gray one,
I know that's what you wanted.
That's the one I wanted. Yeah. So, but I still love this one.
Yeah.
Right. So I got the red one. So I'm going up to. I get off at North Lake Boulevard.
Yep.
95.
Oh, you're up by me, huh? You're up there.
Yeah, and it was like kind of like not like the best area I start like creeping into.
It's not called that. It's called Riviera Beach. Were you in Riviera Beach?
Riviera Beach, maybe. Yeah, that's where I was, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck, I'm going to get like jumped. I don't know, right? So, but then he's like, when you get to the gate,
I don't think it would take a lot.
Call me. So I was like, all right. So I'm like, all right, or at least there's a gate, right? So I said, pick a common area. And at first it was Starbucks and turned out not to be a Starbucks. After that, it was like a gate. So I'm like, man, they're going to hear about this on the news. So he's like, all right. He's like, I'm coming up to the gate. He's like, just wait at the gate. So I'm like, what the hell? You're not going to let me in your complex just to like at least come into your house, you know, whatever?
You're going to see Debo ride through.
That's my bike, punk.
Right. And he was in his 60s. And he just comes riding like this, holding my bike. Right?
He rode the bike?
You know, he was riding his own bike, but he was like towing his bike, the new bike.
That's the for sure.
Right.
I just jacked this bike.
And I was like, oh, shit, when I saw that. Right. And he comes rolling up with this thing, and it was banged up. It was not like the pictures. And I noticed I even went back and looked at the pictures after when I got home. He had strategically taken all the pictures to where all the banged up parts were not in the pictures. Like, and I was like,
the last guy that was riding that bike was like, look at my cool bike. And then Debo took his bike.
Correct. So I'm like, I'm not buying this bike. He goes like this. Okay. And he just goes to like turn around and like leave. He wanted like $380 for this thing. Right. So I was like, oh man, I was so bummed out because like I drove all the way up there in the middle of like coronavirus and like all that shit, like an hour north of me and like braving the whole situation. And I was like, man, now you're running into that dude. So
wait, did he have a mask on or anything?
No, he didn't. That's why I didn't even go near him. I'm like, I took a look at the bike and I didn't touch the bike. I didn't go near him. I'm like, I'm not buying that bike, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, go. See you later. Okay. So then the next day I listened, but the story turns extremely positive. So there was the other one, the red one. So I said to this girl, I'm like, hey, this just happened to me. Can you please send me more pictures of the bike? Because I don't want that to happen again. And it turns out she was like the sweetest thing, right? Nicest lady. She got a family and husband, kid, and everything like that. And it turned out to be the most amazing experience, right? Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Thank you. I'll come get it. She's like, all right, well, I'm holding it for you. Other people are asking. So you definitely want it? I go, yeah. She goes, all right, cool. Then it's yours. I'm like, awesome. And I said, well, listen, full disclosure, because I know the online thing could be shady. After the day before, I want to be like, all right, now this is kind of like shady. So I'm like, my name is D.Friel. Here's my website, just so you know who's coming to see you, right? So then she was like, she looked at my website. She's like, oh, my God, you're an artist, blah, blah. We love marine art. We love fish art. We have all over our house and everything like that. And turns out they ended up buying like a bunch of stuff on my site that I ended up like hand delivering to them. And then it was like a whole big cool moment.
I remember seeing the photo online and I was like,
yeah, and they were super nice people.
Brand new bike.
Yeah.
Why did they sell the bike?
Because it was their parents. They had two actually. They had remember if you know the picture, they had the two. It was the female bike and the male bike. It was his and her set, and it was their parents, and they just weren't riding them.
Liz wasn't.
And they live in Acreage.
Liz wasn't like, "Where's my Townie?"
Well, I asked her if she wanted the one. She's like, "No, I don't want it." And that one already sold though. By the time I had contacted them. So they live in Acreage, and half the roads up there are dirt. And they said it wasn't good for the dirt. So that's it. So I got a new bike.
Nice.
So now I have it, and I'm looking to trick it out.
Pretty snazzy bike.
Yeah.
All right, you can get pretty wild. There's a couple places you can.
So I got the Townie expert with me here, just so people no. Well, in my mind,
you're
you're
like
an
a
expert.
bike rider, dude. I look like a.
Well, for Townies, you fit the bill.
I mean, I had a couple.
Yeah.
They're awesome, man. They're great bikes. I've never had it. You know what? It's more of a dad bike where you don't have to try so hard. It's got gears. It's comfortable. You don't get off the bike and you're like, I think the thing broke my butt bone. You know, like and you were just you were talking about your cool idea. Don't give it away on the online.
Which cool idea?
You know,
with the butt pouch.
Butt pouch.
That's how I'm going to call it. Butt pouch.
It's pretty. You should.
I guess I should have trademarked that before.
You got to do a little poor man's patent and email that to you stuff.
Right. Well, it's on. We're going to go live, so
okay.
we got a digital footprint on the poor man's patent. So I'm going to call it the butt pouch, and it's going to be the Connected by Water butt pouch.
Nice.
For Townies only.
You just put like a shark eating
someone's
the
butt.
seat. Yeah, just look like it. There you go.
Or like a shark biting a chicken in the ass, like a butt pouch.
Yeah, that's right. Fun. I like it. I like where you're going with this.
All right. Work in progress.
There used to be a bar when I was a kid on the water. Actually,
did you go to that bar a lot when you were a kid?
Well, maybe with my dad when we said we were going fishing. Okay. I don't think my dad took me fishing after that. I think it was called Shooters. It was on the water.
The one here in Fort Lauderdale?
No, there was one in like Boynton.
Oh, there was?
Yeah, and it was the 80s, man. It was like wet t-shirt contests and that kind of thing.
Yeah, they did that at this Shooters here too. That's why. Yeah.
So I remember going there, and so I just lost the point of my story. But
so how old were you?
I was a kid.
Hanging out for the wet t-shirt contest.
No, we went with my uncles and my dad and it wasn't supposed to be like I think fishing sucked. And I think they just sucked at fishing.
Okay,
sorry, Dad. But I remember going there and we're like, all right, cool. We're in the pool. Get home. My mom's like, how was fishing? I judged the bikini contest. I was in the pool and they were like, I think I've disappointed my dad ever since.
No, son, you're never coming fishing with me ever again.
Yeah, learn how to fish on your own, bro.
Wow.
So maybe that.
So you really judged a bikini contest when you were a kid?
I remember, yeah. I think it was with my uncle. I won't say his name on the. I almost threw him under the bus. Yeah, it was fun, man. It was cool. It was a cool place. But what made me think of that is, I remember the bar seats were actually animals' asses, and when a person sat in the bar stool, the rest of the animal's legs were in the seat. Let me say that again. They were sitting on like say like a zebra's ass, and there would be someone sitting in the bar stool, and you would just see a zebra's ass.
So it looked like the bottom
There
half
was
of
different
the
animals. Yeah, I remember that.
That's cool.
It was pretty wild. It was a wild bar.
Florida's got some interesting things like that.
Stories,
some like classic,
yeah.
like
and I was told
weird, odd, and I think we're still trying to live off that reputation.
Of course.
Of like the oddity state.
There's Florida Man.
Yeah, there's Florida Man, and there's just all these things that all these like lost Florida like gimmick places that used to be around. But
they were cool, man. I mean, I don't think we had the tourism we have now. Knock on wood that comes back.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, I think Florida's in an interesting position right now because, and we've talked about it on the show a few times, where we're at this kind of critical mass moment with our water in our state and our growth, and then what the concrete is doing to our state. And because people can blame Big Sugar all they want,
the runoff and
you know what I mean, but just people moving here into the state in general is affecting the quality of the water. And we're seeing we have sewage issues in Fort Lauderdale, like big time sewage issues in Fort Lauderdale.
Like yesterday with just a little bit of rain that we got.
Yeah, and the runoff, and like we hadn't had rain here in a while.
That's so scary.
And then all of a sudden, with all this rain, I mean, it's got to be doing bad things. All that runoff's going, all that stuff that had settled onto the ground, all it could become runoff and goes right into the water.
Megan and I, a long time ago, took a airboat ride out like Loxahatchee. It was like a fun thing.
Mhm.
I thought it was kind of a fun, turn into a debacle. But I think the manifold, the exhaust manifold, had fallen off at one point. I'm like, wow, is it supposed to be this loud? It's really loud, like you could feel it,
Really?
But the guy would stop the boat every once in a while and kind of gave us like a lesson. You could tell, like
A lesson?
He was kind of like giving us. He was pretty adamant about his. I guess he wasn't supposed to share his views because it wasn't his boat, and he worked for a company, and he grew up there, and it was his home spot, and he was basically saying how it's really not Big Sugar's fault, but a lot of it has to do with all the farming and the chemicals they've used to farm. And what happens is all the heavy metals sink to the bottom of the Everglades. And then when we get these cold spells, which it was cold that day, we took a cold airboat ride.
With a broken manifold.
It was so loud. The water flips, like a low tide,
Mm-hmm.
kind of have that. And he was explaining, he's like, because we have so many people moving to Florida, we don't have enough water.
Right.
Right? The amount of consumption that it takes. He was saying that they're starting to dig into that layer of heavy metals. And I think like Loxahatchee has a definite cancer connection with, a lot of the people that live out there.
Mm-hmm.
They have this illness.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that something that's
And
like
they're kind of
developing right now?
I mean, there's a lot. You can't really say that. I don't know if it's developing, but it's been there, and they don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm not familiar with Loxahatchee very, very much, but I'm aware there's an issue with the water.
Wow, I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah, and then another story is one of my favorite rums, which I used to drink a lot of rum. No judging. Is Florida Konya.
Mm-hmm.
It's Guatemala.
Yep.
Right? And I guess I read a story, I think it was on Vice or something.
Is that Guatemala or Nicaragua?
Nicaragua, I'm sorry.
Is it?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think it's
Nicaragua.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
okay.
I did that wrong. I read the story from Vice, and they were basically saying how, the average age of the town is 38 years old. And everyone had renal failure in the town, right?
What's renal failure?
That's kidney failure. Like
Okay.
your kidneys are giving out for some reason. Why is that? Why is that happening in the town? And it was basically the rum company was, dude, it was insane. It's like palatial estates. You see these big Jurassic Park doors open, and you roll into the rum factory, and it's beautiful and everything's perfect. But outside of these towns, they were all dying, man. They were all like, max age was like 38 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a problem. Like, but nobody talked about it because they're like, oh, Florida Konya rum is here. This is what we all do. This is who we work for.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's kind of
Was
scary.
there was a connection there then?
There's definitely a story there. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, that's Florida. Think about it. I mean, how much
So
stuff,
that's where we're at now,
that's where we're
right?
at.
Because if we always kind of claim here that Florida's the last pioneer of the United States.
Yeah.
Because everything that's been developed here is
Frontier,
fairly
yeah.
new. The last frontier. So everything here is like fairly new compared to the rest of the country, the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Like where our development times were the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. Right.
We're
Of
not
our sprawl.
overdeveloped. We're not like
Yeah, and it's
industrial.
just fairly
We didn't
new
get-
history.
Yeah.
Right. And there's reasons for that. But we're at that point now where we're like, oh, there's a reason that we didn't build here early on. We're at critical mass. We
Yeah.
really are. And part of the solve to that is some of the things that the government has been doing recently, with buying off the land, not allowing you to develop and everything. That's been great moves by DeSantis on that front. We've talked about that until we're blue in the face on the show. But what's the answer? Because we can't really close the state. Jeff, our friend Jeff Maggio that comes on the state says, oh, he wants no vacancy sign on the state. And like, well, that's unrealistic maybe, like, because people are still going to move here. You're never going to be able to stop people from moving
how do
into
you-
a state.
You can't stop people.
Right. You can't stop it. So, like, what's the answer? Well, regulation. And I think the United States in general is probably the best in the world, or one of the best in the world, at balancing preservation of land and, keeping up with, like, EPA standards and also, but not having to halt development. Because there are other countries, like, say, for example, New Zealand, probably do a better job than we do environmentally. But they're also not going to get involved with industry or development like we are either.
Yeah.
They don't have the population to sustain that we have to sustain. Like, there's different factors involved in that. But Florida's in an interesting spot because we have to make really some hard, tough decisions now.
That's our water source, man. It's like,
Right.
I mean, you can't have life without water.
Correct. Like, what are people going to live on?
Yeah, I mean, so just consumption alone, I think we're overloading our water. I don't know how to say
The
that.
consumption of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
we're
for sure.
over-consuming the water. I don't know how to really say that, but
Being very wasteful, Ben. Oh, that
You
one came
love
out
it.
good.
yeah, it's nice. Can't believe it. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me out here. This is awesome.
You having fun?
You want to explain this big giant sword bill and how much that thing weighed?
So, yeah, well, it's probably about a 200-pound sword. Maybe 150.
Yeah, about, like, I'd say around 200.
Yeah.
You guys are looking at a bill, and you can tell me how much it weighs.
Yeah.
What are you guys, like scientists?
John's a scientist. He just doesn't like talking about it. So this also is one of these things where it's like I don't really paint swordfish bills, but I have like 20 of them here at the studio.
Yeah.
And no one's really like going, hey, paint the swordfish bill. I'm going to give you a bunch of money. You know what I mean? Because I don't normally do
It's
that.
not your
right?
thing.
So, but I was always like, oh, you know what? I got this nice swordfish bill and I'm going to paint it for fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but this is kind of just proves that I never do anything for myself.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's always
Yeah.
tied to a project. It's like, when's the last time you made a table for yourself or whatever, you know? But-
I screwed up, and I had all these cool walnut live edge pieces, and I think Megan had come to my shop at one point and was like, "Who are these for?" And I'm like, "Not for you." Like, keep it moving. And I think I had made her a deal. I'm like, "You come to the shop, you want to make it. You want a dinner table? We got a big table like this. You want a table? You come here and help me make it."
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm like, she'll never last, dude. She made me make this giant table.
Really?
We were there for a week.
She helped you?
Yeah, she's awesome. Dude, she was using all like these fancy German tools and
Job, Megan.
yeah, she did good. Honestly, it's a beautiful table. It's a big walnut live edge table. It's got a big, weird edge. And man, I would hire her.
That Wahoo painting I have going on right now,
Yep.
that's like the first painting that I've done, and I can't remember how long, that wasn't by customer request. Like, I'm starting this
kinda
painting
nice.
on my own. Yeah, kind of nice.
Yeah.
And that's why I was telling you, Harris.
I think
was
that's
telling
where
me
you do. I think that's kind of where you do your. I hate to say it, but your best work is always like, It doesn't have an end game. Like it doesn't. It's not really like. You didn't. Not because you didn't do it for someone, but more. Hey, I want to do this. What is the customer like? I don't know. This is what it looks like. This is what it feels like. I think I do better work. I think I do better work when I'm doing it with the intention of doing it right
Mm-hmm.
versus, man, I have 5 days to be done with this thing. I don't have, I'm not that I'm cheating it, but like, man, I could make this so much cooler if we did it like this.
Right. Yeah. Whenever customers give me like full reign or whatever, that's usually when, and I don't mind putting in the extra time.
Yeah,
At that
it's
point,
rare.
'cause
Well,
they're like, no, cool.
you're right.
They wanted their goal at this is the best possible
Yeah.
work that I can do, and they trust me to do it. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's dear customer out there.
Yeah,
That really is the best way when you're dealing with anyone creatively.
Yeah.
It's just like give them like a little bit of direction on where to like a starting
of
point,
course.
but leave the rest up to them.
Yeah,
That's why you hired them in the first place.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I agree with you.
can
I just
micromanage that
I
stuff.
don't get the. I get the micromanagement. I get it kind of. You know, I had an older gentleman tell me one time, when a customer asks you for a blue nose, give them a blue nose.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuck with me because I was like, what the hell is a blue nose? It makes sense to me now because when they ask for something, just give them exactly what they want.
Right.
And sometimes I fight it. I'm like, nah, this isn't cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's cooler if I do it my way, you know? And a lot of times, there's a couple of family households out there that literally have kept me alive actually through the Corona thing. Bo and Chelsea, they're friends of mine. They literally hire me for everything, and they love everything I do. So, you know, big countertops or, you know, a bar top or whatever. And they're like, hey, make sure you put the Wooden Tuna stamp on that.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, no, man, this is a beautiful countertop. You want me to stamp this thing? They're like, yeah, stamp it right over there. And I fight it. You know, I'm like, nah, man, like you want somebody to walk in your house and see a tuna in your corner of your thing. It's like burned in, you know. I'm like, but I get it.
Absolutely, though.
I get it. No, I'm flattered. But I'm kind of like, no, let's keep it nice, you know.
Oh, it is nice. That makes sense. Well, you do a lot of interesting things too.
Yeah.
We met because, or I guess we did meet that way because of the framing for the artwork. But then I noticed all the other amazing things you do. Like we were talking like before you came in here, this thing called the mud room that you built.
Yeah.
You know, and I was impressed. I was like, man, and then you built staircases, and you know, all kinds of different things, and you just figure it out.
I figured it out, man. I mean, again, fixing your mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's
probably
50% of the equation is, you know, measure twice, cut 3 times, throw that board away, cut it again the right size, and then use that board for something else. Fix your mistakes.
Yeah.
So
You know, I can't tell you how many times that I thought, you know, that you would like go off the path from what the customer wanted because you felt it was like,
I think I did that with you the first time. You're like, I just want a cool little trophy thing, little frame thing. And I'm like, yeah, okay. It was like walnut stripes with.
Yeah, and it came out killer.
It was cool.
But, you know, sometimes you'll go off on that path. You'll be like, man, the customer's going to be stoked on this. And they're like, I don't like that at all. And you're like, heartbroken.
I've had that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't, I mean, you're not going to make everyone happy. That's just life.
That's it.
It's life.
That's it.
I mean, if you dwell on it, you know, there's times when I'm like, man, I'm sorry. I'll rebuild it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That I'm like, yeah, but the first one was the coolest one.
Yeah.
You know? And
definitely.
I'm like, you can't always expect everybody to get your vision or, you know, like a lot of times there's people that ask me to do stuff for their house and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really add value to your house, to be honest with you. Like, I'm literally talking them out of giving me money.
Right.
Which is silly, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to come back in a year and go, hey, man, this is silly. Why did we make this? Like, let's change it. I'd rather kind of go logical, sensible.
You want people at the end of the day after to feel satisfied with the work that you did for them and also the product that you gave them. You know, I'll do that all the time where I'll talk people out of what would be a bigger job for me. Just because at the end of the day, you want the customer to be satisfied.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't want them to feel like they got swindled 6 months down the road or like, why the hell did this dude sell me like so many shirts or why, you know what I mean? Or I didn't really need to do a mural. I could have wrapped that or, you know, and I ended up paying like 10 times as much because he hand painted it. You know what I mean? Where I would be like, you know what? You could wrap that. You know what I mean? And we could do all the artwork on the computer. Like I can just hand paint these little things we can arrange on the computer, and it's going to cost you a quarter as much as it would me for me to sit there and hand paint that thing. Yeah. I always got to tell a customer that. Like, oh, you can wrap that?
Some people do want.
Some people want the hand painted. Because if they really wanted at that point, at least you said your piece.
Yeah, they're different. They're like, I don't want what everybody else can have. I'm elitist.
Yeah.
And I like those guys too. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Yeah, those are bread and butter guys.
John's like that. Elitist.
Elitist, yeah.
John hasn't said much today.
No, I have not. Taking my notes.
Sleepy afternoon.
After those donuts.
Yeah, after the donuts.
Oh, yeah. Was that a Krispy Kreme in there? What was that?
That's Jupiter Donuts.
Oh, Jupiter Donuts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's supposed to be legit. I try to stay away from the donuts. I don't know if you saw this.
You're looking good.
Yeah, I've been to the...
Captain Van Dellen, John Van Dellen was in earlier this morning, and he brought some champagne and donuts, and
That's kind of a nice gift.
that's how the Bayless crews run.
Yeah.
Yeah. The mimosas in the morning, beer in the afternoon.
It's fancy lifestyle, man.
Yeah.
I'm in a dirty wood shop in the afternoons most times, so this is like luxury to me. I'm having an IPA.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge.
I don't even know what this thing is at this point. I got this. So my buddy Micah came in on the podcast and brought a whole ton of this beer. I still have some left over, and this is from the was it the Florida Keys Brewing Company?
Oh, cool. This is awesome. I think.
Yep. Down there, mile marker 81.6 says it right here on the label. So it's a very good homegrown.
I would love to go down the Keys again, and I can't wait.
Well, they open June 1st.
Next week.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
You know what? I hope that this had to have been actually nice for a lot of the retired locals down there. It probably definitely was not nice for people that own small businesses that relied on
I think everyone
tourism for their income and everything like that. But for the retired folk that live down there, they're probably loving it with no traffic.
Like, wow, you want to go to breakfast?
Yeah.
We'll be done in 30 minutes.
Right.
Grab breakfast. Normally waiting in a line at every little stop. I think the last time I went to the Key West was about 2 years ago, and it was, I want to say, after a hurricane.
Mm-hmm. After Irma?
After Irma.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say, man, Key West was like cleaned out, like all the riffraff, and everyone that was there was happy to be there. We went to some fantastic restaurants. I mean, like you could do just like a little map of some of the coolest restaurants. There was a fish house. Mm-hmm. They're unloading fish. I mean, it's
Key West is a cool town, man.
To see,
it's a tourist town, but it's a cool place.
Yeah, we stayed in this cool little, small little hotel right on the water, right on the wharf. Megan usually sets all this stuff up and was like, "We're going to the Keys." I'm like, "All right, let's go." But man, that was one of the best vacations I've ever had, man. It was, and you're like, we've been everywhere,
Yeah. My favorite part about Key West is it's not like the nightlife. It's breakfast.
It's breakfast.
It is the best place in the world to get breakfast.
Yeah.
I mean, places like Blue Heaven and Pepe's and places like that. It is the best. Like you wake up and you stroll out, you get that cool island breeze blowing, and you flip-flop it to some breakfast place.
We were in bed by like
roosters and stuff like that, and cats all over the place, and it's like this real casual, like outdoor patio settings everywhere you go.
Yeah, it would have been cool to be there in like the 50s or
Yeah, well, it was back in the Hemingway, the Tennessee Williams days and all that. Yeah.
Would have been
Yeah, no, Key West has definitely got its history, and it was kind of interesting if you look back at the 80s how it all kind of got gentrified then. Yeah. And then now it's to the point where I know for a fact that Jimmy Buffett can't even step foot in the town anymore. Just because he'll get like inundated with people because all the tourists that go there thinking, Margaritaville.
Jimmy Buffett's going to be there.
Yeah, and what if we see Jimmy Buffett while we're here? You know what I mean? If he actually shows up, then it's like Michael Jordan. Yeah. He can't be seen in that town, so he doesn't even go there anymore.
It's okay. I'm sure he's got an island somewhere.
Yeah, no, he's doing all right.
Yeah, he's doing okay.
He's doing okay for himself. Okay. Yeah, that's first-hand knowledge. He's doing fine. But Key West itself, it's interesting to see how they've been able to hold on to some of it a little bit. I think they have to. Yeah. But the Duval Street, I know the locals are like, oh, we don't even go near Duval Street anymore. But June 1st, when the Keys open, it's going to be interesting to see how fast it gets back to, because it was starting to get really, really overrun and really, really crowded down there.
It's going to be a new dynamic. It's going to be different,
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't opened bars yet, dude. Here in Palm Beach or Broward, like it's.
Well, didn't they put a date for us too? It's like, I think it's going to sometime next week. We're going to be like fully open.
I'm not sure. Some places are open, like at a limited capacity and all that. I'm not sure when it's going back to.
I guess they're going to see if we have a spike or something.
I think there's going to be a limit. Weird. Yeah.
It's gonna be weird, man.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. So that's it. So my whole point I was going to bring up, like June 1st when the keys opens up, it's like, what's the world's lessons from COVID going to be? You know, because here's the thing. Like, we have to open up. We have to work. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have to.
Right?
Work.
It has to happen. There's no doubt about it, because global economic collapse can't happen.
Right.
Right. But, you know, the virus isn't going away.
No.
All right. But you just got to be smarter, and you got to be, you know, because it's not like, you know, people thought, you know, oh, you're going to lay low and stay indoors and it's going to go away. I got news for you. You can stay inside for a year. It's still going to be around, because you're talking about it's worldwide, and it's
going to keep popping
a
up.
billion people. Or billions of people, and
it's just going to be like little hotspots,
it's going to be around.
I just saw like Mexico City, which is like the most densely populated city.
There's more people in Mexico City than Manhattan.
They're a hotspot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my god, like that's like, I don't know, man. I think this is
it's not going to go away.
Super eye opening at the same time, and we were, I don't know if you remember before this even went down, but it was very, there was a lot of turmoil in the world, and then this happened, and now everyone's worried about this. So, people.
What about all the other problems? What happened?
What about yeah, just like that?
Yep,
gone. And now
it was like 9/11.
Yeah, we forgot about it.
There was that senator, like Gary Condi, that was like really like, the news was all about him and his aide.
Oh, right.
Remember that? And like all of a sudden the planes hit the building and no one ever talked about him again.
Never again.
Like the media always needs that, like that story, that lead story.
Yeah, the media is horrible. But we were talking about Epstein before this all happened.
Right.
That was
shiny new toy here.
Yeah.
But it is a pretty big shiny toy.
We're gonna deal with this, I think, for a while until we're already sick of it. I mean, people are freaking out, man. Mm-hmm.
And that's not good.
No.
I mean, and if you look at the true statistics of what's going on, the reality of the situation, you know what I mean? And you know, it's really, now we know what this thing is.
I just saw,
we really do.
I just saw the Bahamas. To go over, you need to have your...
Saw that. You need to get tested and have proof.
A certificate of test, right? That you're negative. And you also have a...
It's to be within a certain time frame, too.
Yeah. And a couple buddies of mine zipped over, kind of like a tuna mission during, about a month ago. Zipped over, got caught in some weather, and had to literally sit sit in 20 feet of water outside the Bahamas. And they had asked for a safe haven.
Safe harbor?
Safe harbor, sorry.
Yeah.
And I guess, they slayed the tunas. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and they were like, all right, let's go back. They never had to cross into the Bahamas. They never, and they kept pushing for like a couple hours, and they couldn't get back. And then they zipped to the Bahamas and hung out till the storm blew over. Then zipped over, got home 9 o'clock at night. It was a little bit scary.
Had to report their tunas?
I'm sure they did all the right things. I mean, they're legit captains.
All right.
But man, it was a ghost town coming back. They said there was like, no law sitting at the inlet. Nobody. They just zipped their own in. Nobody waiting.
I heard them for Bermuda. That when you get there. And I think they're factoring in your travel time.
Okay.
That you're not allowed on the island. You have to quarantine for 2 weeks. Yes. You're not allowed on the island. And so basically, you can go there, and you can anchor off.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right, and
you got to sit off.
And you can fish their waters, and all that, but you're not allowed on land.
Can't touch land.
That's going to be Bahamas too, I bet.
Yeah, and then if, like, say you get there. And you've been there for 4 days, right? So you factor in what your 2 days chug time, and then or however long it takes to get the Bermuda out of there. I've never been. And then you've been there for 4 days. So you're like 6 days into your quarantine, and your owner flies in.
Yeah.
Your whole boat, including yourself, your quarantine starts over.
Dang.
So, pretty much no one's going to Bermuda right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a change of things are different.
I hate the term new normal because to me that's smoke and mirrors for we're trying to change the world the way we've done things and we want to do things, but
I don't think it'll ever be normal. It's this is always going to be a factor. I think this kind of opens the door for. I mean, you hear people getting the flu, for years, dying from the flu. A lot of people die from the flu. Mm-hmm. No one ever like panicked.
Right.
Like we all just.
Well, that was my point earlier with saying I think at this point we kind of know what it is. Yeah. And we know how to handle it. In the very beginning, we didn't. Everyone was really scared shitless. So
I went on a cruise in January.
You did? Really?
Yeah.
I gotta go. Podcast is
over. Remember how sick I was back in January?
I was gonna say in November.
I was really, really sick. Yeah. I had a fever for like 5-6 days.
Yeah, Megan and I both got sick in October. Both of in October, November, we both got sick, and then we came home we went on a cruise in January, which I'm not a cruise person, but it was awesome. It was insane. It was. We get back on February 2nd, was the Super Bowl. We go to the Super Bowl party, and I'm like, man, I don't feel good. I didn't even drink at the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. It was a huge pool party. Went home and closed my garage for like 2 weeks. I think my neighbors were like, are you mad at me, bro? And I'm like, no, I'm sick. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't open your garage. Are you really mad at me? And I'm like, no, man, I'm sick. And then all those guys got sick too.
Really?
Yeah, so I want to go get an antibodies test because I know.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if either one of you did that at all.
No, not yet.
I'm ready to do it, man. I think that.
Justin did it just to do it the other day, or like last week, and it came back negative. Nothing. He was all bummed out about it.
I'll be bummed.
He was hoping he had it.
Yeah, I'll be bummed if it's negative because there's no way. Actually, Megan went to the doctor in in February, and they go, we don't know what you have, but we're sending you home with antibiotics and a Z-Pack and
right.
So it was pretty severe.
But here's some hydrochloroquine.
No, I think they were like, take a Z-Pack, it'll kill anything.
Yeah.
So
there's evidence I think that it was here for longer than suspected, but
I hate even talking about this stuff, man.
I know it's tough not to though. It's really hard not to because
I think it's stuck with us for another year. Like I think we're going to be talking about this for.
No, yeah, it'll be a couple of years. I think so.
I think with each
not like this, not particularly in this situation, but it'll be around for a few years.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, with each passing month, everything seems to change. Yeah. It keeps getting a little better,
I just saw like news coverage of. Lake of the Ozarks or something. Mm-hmm. I see this video of like
everybody in the pool.
Like, look at this party, man! It's awesome. And then at the same time, I'm like, oh, they're gonna get in trouble. They're gonna get in trouble. They're getting in trouble. They're not social distancing, So.
We're at Daytona.
What? The beach.
You see the beach thing at Daytona?
No, I didn't see it.
They
always show some like foreign beach, and then they're like Jacksonville, and I'm like, that's not Jacksonville.
No. This is different. So there was a video. Do you know the video I'm talking about?
No. I'll try and find it.
Yeah. You got to show this because they opened up, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're like, wow, Daytona. There's a group of individuals, we'll just say, a large group of individuals on their, I don't know if they call it A1A up there. I guess it's still A1A.
Yeah, I think it's A1A.
Right? Yeah. So there's on A1A, stopping traffic. Right? Because this gentleman gets out of the sunroof of looked like a Crown Victoria or something. I don't know what it was.
Crown Vic's got sunroof?
Maybe something. It might have been custom.
I mean,
maybe I don't know. It was a white large car.
In Daytona, they do.
It was the ghetto bird helicopter, like kind of catching everything, and it was a police video. And the police leaked the video because they want to show everyone, don't do this. Yeah. And the dude is literally throwing money out of the roof of his car, which caused a huge crowd of people to come over because they all wanted, they were probably just dollar bills too. Who knows? But he's throwing money out of the top of the roof. That was a
stimulus.
It's a stimulus check going out the roof.
Daytona stimulus, bro.
So the cops are like, I think this guy's throwing money out of the top of his car.
I didn't see.
Dispatcher's like, can you repeat that? What? It's like, yeah, like stopped all traffic. This happened like last week.
I didn't see anything.
I'm not kidding. I don't know if the guy, if there was a camera there, they're trying to film some like B-roll for like a video,
it's reality TV or something. Yeah.
Something, but the reality is,
you know what's weird is
they weren't social distancing.
Have you guys ran out of stuff to watch on TV?
Absolutely. I've reached the end of Netflix.
We've reached the end of the interwebs.
Yeah.
I rewatched Game of Thrones all.
Oh my God.
I rewatched everything.
No. It got that bad for you? You rewatched Game of Thrones?
It's an argument at home where like here, you find something to watch, and then it's like ends up on like some rom-com thing that Megan picks out.
Oh my God, we just had a rom-com situation. So last night, like, my wife puts on Failure to Launch with Matthew McConaughey, and I was fine with it.
No chance. You watched it?
You're like, yeah. I watched it. I was doing an illustration for the magazine, right? I'm like, oh yeah, and she put it on in the background. And I was just like drawing. We were watching Failure to Launch. We really have watched everything.
We've watched everything,
and like the things we haven't watched are just like garbage. There's so much trash.
There's a lot of trash. Yeah, they're just putting. But I mean, I don't know if they're still producing stuff to be. But there's got to be a backlog of stuff that's got to be coming through. Like,
I don't know, but I'm gonna start searching out like old sitcoms from the '80s. I'm just gonna start rewatching like Cheers.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
Great. Yeah. I love Cheers. Norm.
It's great. I went back and I watched an episode. I'm like, oh man, it made me feel all warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
Go back and watch an episode of Cheers. You'll be surprised, man. Yeah.
I think. I mean, I've watched a bunch of old.
Megan's from Boston, right? You're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So does she like Cheers?
I mean, I'm sure she does. She's a throwback, man. She likes all the old stuff.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. She likes
start watching Cheers. That's my suggestion to you.
Yeah.
So cool. So yeah, I've reached the end of Netflix, and that's it. We're done. And I mean, I only watch it like at the end of the day, right? Because with the two kids and like working here, and I get home and I get run over by the kids.
You're about to fall asleep.
I'm about to fall asleep, and I'm like, when's it going to be my time? And I always tell Liz, I'm like, I'm going to go put on Netflix and become a vegetable, because that's all I get left. And I'll watch everything till I pass out. That's it.
I mean, I'll be the first person to fall asleep, and I'll also wake up at like midnight, and I'm like wide awake. Oh no, what did we eat for dinner? I'll eat again. Yeah.
What's next for the wood shop?
I've got a list of tables. It's funny, this COVID-19 actually. I never got a break. Like everyone's.
We didn't either. We've been busier than ever.
I actually, people were like, "Hey, can you?" I think they're walking around their house and they're like, "It's a good time to put a bar in. That's a good time to do the patio table and IPA, or let's do this." And so it was always creative ideas that people had. But at the same time, I'm like, "Hey, I can't even order lumber." I get some of my purveyors were like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome, but we don't have drivers this week. We don't have, And then on top of that, like, there'd be, $5,000 in cabinets sitting in my shop that I'm like, I need to install these, and I can't go into their house.
Right.
So it was like an awkward thing, and some people that were ordering stuff were like, "Hey, we're ready to get it installed, but how do we do this?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Close your door.
Yeah.
Let me go in. I'll do my thing, and then you can wipe everything down when I leave."
Right.
So it was just a little awkward.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
What do you?
The whole thing was just weird. I think at this point, like, we're all like, all right.
Yeah, go in and do your thing.
Yeah, just go in. It's cool. Just be smart. Wash your hands, and don't do anything stupid.
Yeah. So,
but I really think that's the way to go now. I mean, I don't think you need to just avoid society altogether.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
in the beginning, you didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, oh my God, what's happening to the world? You know what I mean? But now at this point, everything's kind of leveling off. You're like, all right, that's how this thing is. That's how we know how to operate around this thing.
What's weird is I think I watched Outbreak like the second week of this whole thing.
Did you really? Why would you do that?
It was on like trending, you know, and I'm like, oh, that was a good movie. Like, let's check this out. I stayed
away from all. And then I watched Contagion, all that.
Yeah, I watched it and I go, why did I watch this movie? I think I was up till like 2 a.m. that night, like, oh my God, we're all gonna die. Like we are done. And
it's kind of like watching CNN.
Same thing, yeah, same thing.
CNN, Contagion.
Yeah, it's CNN. Just, we're all gonna die. So in the long run, I was actually busier through this whole thing because people are walking around their house and like, hey, let's get Ben to do that thing. Mm-hmm. So it was a good thing. I had a couple of friends that had just finished a remodel, and then they were like, okay, what are we going to do about this area? And then they would call me, hey, dude, come through. And I'm like, you guys have a baby? You have little kids? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to go in your house. Like, I'm wearing gloves. Like, the first couple times I'm wearing gloves and a mask. And they were like, take your shoes off because that's where your shoes are. I'm wearing gloves and a mask and no shoes. I'm in this person's house, like installing these like furniture pieces, and then I'm like, "Do we really got to do this?"
Yeah.
So one day I'd like show up with no gloves, like try to operate a drill.
Yeah.
With gloves on. Your glove gets as soon as you try to lock up a bit, your glove gets driven in the thing, and you're like 3 fingers are gone. Like, I can't do this. So it was awkward,
Yeah, we experienced an uptick in business too, because we deal mostly with captains.
Yeah,
and those are the guys responsible for all the apparel on the boat and everything like that. So they're all not fishing because no one's allowed to fish.
Man, I feel for all those guys, man. I feel like a couple buddies of mine still are, a buddy of mine, Chris, is he's running a big old 61 something, and I'm like, what are you doing, man? He's like, well, until my charters come back.
Right.
Megan's whole family, they have the pleasure, the cruise boats in Delray. And like they're Lady Atlantic and Lady Delray, like it's hard, man. Like, they were like the first people hit, like, hey, none of this, and they're open again. They're running, people are booking charters, and
it's like Skip with the Fish City.
Yeah. Exactly. And you got to understand how many people canceled, though. Like, they have weddings and events and corporate events and stuff. So, that's a big hit to local economies, man.
We got hit with the event thing, too, because if you think we do a lot of the apparel for tournaments and seafood fests and different things like that, we lost a good handful of jobs.
Yeah, they get canceled. So, yeah, I had a couple of jobs canceled that were bigger that, they were like, hey, we're not sure if we can do it. And, but, you think about, I don't support that many people, and some of these companies they support, they're small town companies, and it's just kind of scary. It's good to see them starting to come back, and, but, like the boat captains, they're running charters, man. Those people don't come back.
Right.
They're not, you want them to come back, but, they got to change their whole plan now,
Yeah, I know that Cody Holcomb and all those guys, they did a real good job with the whole Save the Charter Boats thing and the initiative that they've been having going on. It's a very positive initiative. Fly's been doing a lot of good work on his podcast over there at the Fly Zone with kind of keeping everyone up and relevant and, alive and blood flowing and all that stuff like that. So, I think the community has been doing a really good job of pulling together, a lot of the pieces that went missing.
Yeah.
And they'll come back, but it's tough for those, like you said, those customers to actually, come back. And we get a lot of customers from up north, and that's the place that it was hit the hardest.
Right.
So it's tough for someone to come in from New York or New Jersey to come down and fish.
As I was driving into the parking lot here, I see, one of the wait staff for the restaurant next door. I mean, she's in all black. I see her, like, she's got this thing on her side. She's got probably 20 pins.
It's gonna be like 45 Beretta? Like what?
She's got all these little pins stuck in her in her book, and she's got a big mask on. She's got her hair pulled back, and I'm like, man, it's got to be tough. It's a tough life. I've done both those things, running a charter boat and working in restaurants. And I look at those people and I go, man, they're going to struggle for a little bit. It's
Yeah, there's a lot. Even I was thinking the other day too about like the cleaning ladies at the hospital.
Dude,
like they got to clear all the bed sheets and all that in the ICU, and they got to go in there every day, like cleaning up all that stuff. They're completely exposed to all the contagion that's in there.
Yeah, there's a ton of jobs that are just going to be different. Everyone's life is going to be different.
Yeah,
it sucks. I mean, I don't know what the right.
Well, we gotta keep positive, man.
Yeah,
I don't want to turn a bummer on all this, man.
No,
but we got to keep positive. But you're right. You know what I mean? Things are going to change, but it's really kind of, we got to move forward too at the same time. You know what I mean? And we got to stop playing blame games, amongst ourselves. We got to stop arguing on social media. And you just got to start, understanding that everyone's got their own path here to follow on this. You know what I mean? What I have to deal with or you have to deal with is not the same thing as someone that just had a newborn baby has to deal with.
Agreed.
I can only imagine what, Steve and Tamara are going through with the new baby.
Yeah.
That they're dealing with a completely different deck of cards than, someone who's already, who's got older kids or no kids or
kids don't have the,
or what if someone's got like a immunocompromised person in the house? I mean, that's a different deck of cards than, so everyone's got their own thing. So everyone's got to respect everyone else's views on this. And if you don't want to work, then stay home. But if someone needs to work, wants to work, then let them go. You know what I mean? Just each his own. Yeah, you got to
I was super
let it
fortunate.
flow.
Yeah. So, I hope I'm ready, man. I'm ready for everything to just kind of Let's go back to doing what we do.
I'm ready too.
Yeah.
Let's go see a wood kiln. What do you call this thing?
Wood kiln? Yeah.
It is a wood kiln, they call that?
I mean, yeah, he dries wood out. I don't think it's a very, crazy process, but...
All right.
He just drops the humidity in it.
All right. I love go checking out other guys' wood.
Yeah. Heard that.
All right. Cool.
Thank you for having me.
Man.
Awesome.
Dude, thanks for coming by. I enjoyed hanging out with you here on the show. Right? In the fishbowl. Right? Yeah. You have a good time?
It's great. Yeah, this place is awesome.
Yeah. It does the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Your ego is not your amigo. Always do your best and let God do the rest. Remember, if you're going to buy a vehicle, particularly a Ram truck, please do so at Joey Hardy, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Go see my boy Dean. He will hook you up if you tell him that I sent you. Promise you that. Right? Always remember to eat, drink, and be local. Go support our friends over at Papa's Raw Bar. Right? Buy your sandals at Oil Kai. Buy your glasses at Maui Gym. See you later. Right? Don't ever forget, we're always connected by water, no matter where we are and what we're doing. Love you. Bye.